Son put 30 for candles on the cake for his father, but just as he was about to put the 35th one, the father stopped him. The child did not know that the 35 candles would never have a chance to be lit, as John was terminally ill. He did not know how to tell his son that his mother left him when he was born, and that he was the only one who raised him. In the limited 3 months of life, John set 2 goals. One was to find a foster family for Mike, and the other was to teach his son how to face death and say goodbye. The first adoptive couple has great living conditions with a tidy villa and spacious garden. The woman is gentle in speech and behavior, which may make up for some of the maternal love that Mike lacks. However, the man has a strong attitude and wants to take Mike to the school he runs after adoption.
Yeah, but he's doing well where he is. No, it's not far.
The man's words made him hesitant, and John didn't agree to the couple. On a sunny day, John's mood was a bit gloomy. He took his son to watch the traffic flow and asked if Mike would like to take a ride to a better place to live. John was deeply touched by this sentence and didn't know how to proceed for a moment. In the face of separation, regardless of age, it is a painful topic. Looking at the young and innocent Mike, John wonders if he will remember him in the future. The adoption agency suggested that he make a memory box, put things about himself and Mike in it, and when Mike turns 18, he has the right to learn about his biological parents. However, John did not want to do it that way.
Does he have to know he was adopted? We will find him a family that will be his family, his only family. He won't even have to remember how useless his parents were. His mother leaves him and then his father dies.
Watching the father dressing his son on the field, John felt an indescribable envy. He spent his remaining days with Mike, accompanying him to watch excavators, drawing simple pictures, decorating walls, and sleeping together. However, while working as a window cleaner, he saw other children with their whole childhoods in their homes, while Mike had to sit on the roadside and play with his toy cars alone. John put finding an adoptive family back on the agenda. The second couple has already adopted a 10-year-old girl, and they know how to take care of children well. The only problem is that they don't like dogs, but Mike has always dreamed of having a pet dog. To help Mike understand the meaning of death, they found a motionless beetle under a tree. John told Mike that the beetle died, which means it can no longer move, eat, play, and its soul is no longer inside, leaving only a shell. Then Mike asked him if the beetle would be sad.
No, it's not sad. It's not there.
Young Mike still seemed to not fully understand, and was more excited about the ice cream truck that came when the music played. Meanwhile, John's condition continued to worsen, and he rested on the couch at home. Mike brought a full glass of water to his sleeping father and could only offer his support by gently placing his small hand on John's. The third adoptive family is a large one with 6 children, some adopted and some biological. They promised John that this would be their last adoption. However, given the family environment, it was evident that Mike couldn't adapt, so John didn't consider them further. John felt helpless and wanted to request the staff to contact Mike's birth mother for care. However, he was told that those who abandon their children at birth are unlikely to be considered. John said he had to weigh his decision carefully because it would change Mike's life, but the staff only gave him one sentence.
I'm running out of time.
John sensed that his life was coming to an end. The fourth adoptive parent who came was a single woman. She said she got pregnant at 16 and gave birth to a child, but her parents sent the child away, and she had never seen her child since then. Later, she got married again, but found out she couldn't have children, so her husband divorced her. This adoption was just a chance for her, as her conditions were not very ideal. She brought a bag of candy, filled Mike's toy truck with them, and sat down with him to chat. It was perhaps because of her casual attitude that John could notice these details and feel some emotions from the bottom of his heart. However, at this moment, Mike asked the most realistic question.
When will it all die?
In recent days, observant Mike noticed some issues. One time, when he was about to eat leftover yogurt, his father snatched it away. Mike looked at his father's back with sadness in his eyes. He also felt heartbroken when he saw his father trembling while pouring juice. Even though he didn't know what death was, Mike knew he wouldn't see his father again. John had a good conversation with the fifth adoptive family at first. However, as they were leaving, the family took back a toy that Mike liked very much. Suddenly, John forgot everything they had talked about earlier and decisively refused this family. On the way home, Michael asked another startling question.
What's a dog, Daddy?
John said, "People who accompany you throughout your life are like a relay race, and Dad will pass the baton to better parents to take care of you." Mike doesn't understand things that far in the future. He only knows for now.
I don't want a dog.
John fell silent again and watched as Mike ran across the narrow bridge. A wave of guilt washed over him, unsure if he could make the right decision for Mike. Alone, John followed Mike's lead across the bridge and onto the wilderness, feeling the peacefulness of nature. He realized that he needed to learn to say goodbye first, so that Mike could understand the true meaning of death. He drove past a cemetery and smiled at the thought that it would be his final resting place. Later, he sold his car and took his son to the amusement park for one last time. They drove bumper cars together, watched cotton candy being made, and savoured the sweet scent. They fished out a yellow duck and entered the magical world of funhouse mirrors. Suddenly, Mike realized that his father had become so small and he had grown so tall. At night, John brought out a book on death education and taught Mike his first important lesson in life.
Like the beetle left its body, but is now flying around the forest. One day soon, your daddy will leave his body, but will always be around you, in the air.
Like the balloon in the sky.
Later, John prepared a memory box for Mike and wrote many letters for him to open at different ages, accompanying him in a different way as he grew up. He packed it up with photos and put his and his mother's picture in a glove, hoping that Mike wouldn't hold a grudge against his mother. He also included his work glasses and a hat he often wore. Finally, John put his 35th birthday candle in the memory box, freezing himself in time at that age. In the quiet morning street, John took Mike across the empty road, and then they took a bus to the adoptive family's house. The sky outside the window was covered with thick clouds. However, when they arrived at the adoptive family's home, the sunshine paved the way to happiness for them. John let Mike ring the doorbell, and when the door opened, John smiled and the fourth single woman walked out. She greeted John first, then slowly crouched down to eye level with Mike. Mike didn't respond, but turned to look at his father. John was also looking at him with a smile, and finally, he took Mike's hand and froze in the last moment of the film.